part of the enchantment of big magic is that magic exists in everything. Ideas themselves are actually magical sentient beings that flit around waiting for the perfect host to find them and enter into a contract of development. Once an idea has selected you, and you accept it, you have an obligation to bring that idea to fruition. An example of how ideas are living creatures is when you feel as if someone has plucked an idea directly from your head and brought it to reality for themselves. The idea and concept will be near replicable to one another. The author uses this as evidence to prove that instead of feeling competitive and resentful, you should understand that at one point the idea was your choice, but because you didn't bring it to fruition, it found somebody else and found a new owner to host its dreams. No one but yourself needs to give you permission to get in touch with your creative side. It's okay to want to be an artist of some nature, but that does not mean that you have to quit your day job and give up everything that makes you a responsible adult. Therefore, since you aren't giving up being a responsible adult in order to be creative, there's no need to get permission from anyone to tap into the unique version of yourself. Much like you don't need permission to become a creative individual, you also don't need a master of fine arts to become a creative individual. The author points out that it is perfectly reasonable to go to university when you're wanting to become something like a lawyer, a doctor, or a dentist. It makes absolutely no sense to spend $50,000 on a bachelor's and master's degree in fine arts when you're not going to kill anybody by writing a bad book. Finding your inner creative spark comes with affirming that you are entitled to be a creative person. Being entitled doesn't mean you deserve any recognition or royalties. It means that because your soul wants to be creative, you have the right to find your creative outlet and try. But to get to that creative inside, you must speak it to life with positive affirmations. Then you have to keep it alive by firmly telling your negative thoughts of who you are and why you deserve to be magical. It's nearly impossible to create an entirely original idea. Most everything has been done, but it hasn't been done by you. Your unique perspective refreshes the topic and creates authenticity that captivates your audience. People who strive for total originality come across forced and pretentious. People who pour their life into an inspiring idea change other people's perspectives and bring joy with their authenticity. But regardless if your creation is a new facet of an existing idea or a wholly new idea, your motivation behind the idea matters. Your motivation will come through your work. People who have intentions to help others tend to do so in a stressed-out, pedantic manner. When your motivation is because you are filled with inspiration and have a need to create, then your product shines with that genius. Choosing to believe and relish in the thought that you are suffering for your art is a tried and true method of artist. It has been tried since the dawn of time, and merely looking up the number of artists that have harmed themselves or drank themselves to death proves it's a true method. Unfortunately, the artists usually never get to reap the rewards of their artistic suffering because they become famous after they have passed. Gilbert boldly states that the martyrdom method is not for her and shouldn't be for anyone. Artists should love their craft and believe that their craft loves them, and they should use their craft only to bring happiness and joy into their lives. Rather than being obsessed with their art, creators should be curious about their art and all it can teach them. Over the years of committing to your creative craft, you will come to know yourself. With persistence, thoroughly sticking to your creative endeavors, you will get better. Persistence also means you keep working your day job while you are developing your craft. Most creative jobs cannot handle paying the bills in the beginning, and desperation to create in order to literally eat is no motivation. It will defeat you and kill your love for your craft. To keep your persistence going, to be passionate about finding stolen minutes to work on your craft. Make it the illicit affair that you are desperate to find time for. Persistence also means you have to learn to deal with and accept rejection. Perfection has no place in creativity. Plus, perfection, or the idea of it, is subjective, and if you spend too much time caring about what others think, you will drive yourself crazy and create nothing. No one is actually thinking of you and wondering whether you are creating something perfect. While fans may be curious as to when your next creatoin is coming out, it is so they can enjoy your work, not so they can hate it. Finishing your creative work is better than perfection. Items that are whittled until they are perfect either disappear in the fine-tuning or never get complete. Put forth your best effort and your work will get done and be perfect in its imperfect state. To live a creative life, one needs to be courageous. Fear exists to keep people safe and not make lethal, impulsive decisions. Unfortunately, fear also exists when people are uncertain, and since creativity has no clearly drawn path, it is nothing if not uncertain. Managing your fear, giving it room to exist but not make decisions based on that fear, is the balance you have to strike to tap into your creativity. Being courageous means opening yourself up to find the treasures of creativity within yourself and dragging them to the surface. It does not mean giving up your job or making irrational decisions to prove you aren't scared.